If Louisville is going to turn its season around, Bobby Petrino's offense has to improve. They're last in the ACC in all the major categories. They're really struggling in this post-Lamar Jackson era.
Well, it's tough to replace a Heisman Trophy winner and one of the greatest players in college football history. And a young team, they're trying to find their way through it right now.
Huge drop-off. We'll see how they respond here tonight on a hot, humid night at Cardinal Stadium. There's Sean Davis ready to kick off. Hassan Hall, he will be the deep man standing in the end zone for Louisville as we're underway. It is Hassan Hall from the 1-yard line. It's across the 15. He has stood up and driven back. Not great field position. This Cardinals offense to start. Juwan Puma Pass, the sophomore out of Columbus, Georgia. Big quarterback. He's 6'4", 231 pounds. A career-high 306 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns last week. But, of course, the numbers overshadowed by the interceptions on the last two drives. We showed you the one that was the critical one that cost him the game. He also threw one later. He's got a big challenge here tonight.
Coming off his best performance, looking for some consistency out of Puma.
He's going to throw here on first down, rolling out to his right. Has a man downfield. It's Mickey Crum, the tight end, caught at the 41. He had a career-high 8 catches and a touchdown last week. He has been good. That's a pickup of 22 on the first play.
And you know, Clay, I really expect Mickey Crum to have a big night. He's a tight end that they love to move around. Kind of wide receiver body. Great start for Puma coming out aggressive.
And Bobby Petrino said yesterday, it's going to be critical we have a good start tonight. A very good opening drive. Can't do much better than that on the first play. Now here's Trey Smith on the ground. He'll get just one as he's brought down by Henri St. Amour. Let's take a look at the impact players.
For Louisville offensively, it's got to be their receiver duo of Des Fitzpatrick and Jalen Smith. They got to get some plays down the field to give Puma some confidence. And then for Georgia Tech defensively, Desmond Branch, a defensive end. He's got to have a great night pressuring the quarterback. And then Malik Rivera, one of their safeties. Ball's going to go up. You got to make some plays.
A little thin in the secondary is Georgia Tech. Here's a big run for Hassan Hall, the true freshman speedster out of Atlanta, brought down by David Curry. But they like Hassan Hall, Dan. Petrino wants to get him as many touches as possible here tonight.
One of the things that he does best is a one-cut, really able to put one foot in the ground, get north and south. And they love using him in this kind of little counter action that they just showed on that last play.
So he picks up 8. It's going to be third down and short. Louisville under 36% on the year on third down. And the Georgia Tech defense is the worst third down defense in the ACC. That run up the middle for Trey Smith, and he runs into a lot of traffic and he's forced back. We'll see where they spot it. Did he get enough to get the first down? It's St. Amour credited with the tackle here. No, he didn't get it. Fourth down. We'll see what Bobby Petrino decides to do. He's going to go for it.
Well, I would imagine with a quarterback that's 230 pounds. I mean, I know Georgia Tech puts a defender on the center's head every play, but with a 230-pound quarterback to get half a yard, let's go for a quarterback sneak.
Louisville breaks a huddle here on fourth down and inches. Cards 2 for 7 on fourth down this year. Pass is going to throw. Wobbly ball down the middle of the field. It's incomplete, and Crum was the intended receiver, but you could tell he got spun around, and it lands incomplete. Georgia Tech takes over on downs.
And you know I love aggressive play calls, but Clay, quarterback sneak right there.
And Bobby Petrino not happy with how that turned out. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Louisville, Kentucky. Well, Bobby Petrino said after last week's red zone interception, he made a bad call, and he took the blame. What'd you think of that last call on fourth down?
He made another one. You got a 6'4", 230-pound quarterback. Just get a quarterback sneak, couple inches, then regroup for a first down.
Glorious field position. First drive of the night for Georgia Tech. They start at midfield. And that's a bad start. Taquan Marshall incomplete. The only guy within 10 yards of that pass was Quay Searcy. Here's Taquan Marshall, top rushing quarterback in the ACC. He felt last week's win over Bowling Green was a reset for himself and the team. He blew out Bowling Green 63-17. This team doesn't pass a lot, 10 to 12 times a game. They try to make them count. They're 0 for 1. This is what they do. They run the option. On the counter, it's Marshall on the keep. And he'll get 4.
Officials timeout. Helmet off by the defense.
That's Jared Goldwire, defensive tackle for Louisville. He'll have to leave for one play at least. Let's take a look at the impact player.
Well, certainly Taquan Marshall, who's coming off his best week decision-making in this option offense. Got to have another one like that. And then I want to give a little love to the offensive line. Parker Braun, a nasty guard. And then Louisville on defense, it's their linebackers. Dorian Etheridge and P.J. Blue, they're going to cut block, have to run to the ball.
3rd down and 6. Marshall's going to check the play. And that is the B-back, Jordan Mason. Their second leading rusher, bangs ahead, picks up about 8, and they'll move the chains.
Hits so quick. That fullback dive happens so fast, Clay.
And that Georgia Tech offense, Dano, number 2 rushing offense in the country. The Louisville defense stopping the run, not so hot.
Well, that's going to be a huge storyline tonight. Georgia Tech's going to get theirs, but can you minimize it somewhat, especially on early downs?
Marshall will keep again. The left side of the offensive line for Georgia Tech. Pick up about 5 yards on 1st down. It's the flex bone, the spread option, triple option, whatever you call it. It's rare these days. It's hard to defend. Georgia Tech runs it about as good as anybody.
Well, the toughest part is it stresses everyone on your defense. All 11 guys have to be on every single play. One guy wrong, and it's a big gash.
This offensive line so good at communicating, too. You can see the discussion up front. And you saw something they didn't like, so Georgia Tech is going to spend a timeout here with 10:14 to go in the first quarter. Paul Johnson will discuss the next move for the Yellow Jackets. Back in a moment.
ESPN College Football is presented by Outback Steakhouse, where you can go big and go home with delivery and takeout. And in part by Roxor from Mahindra. There's plenty to be done.
Gotta go to the Louisville Slugger Museum next time in Louisville. All right, let's drill down deeper into the Georgia Tech option.
Well, it's not just a triple option. There's multiple forms, triple, counter, speed. The A-back is really a slot guy. He's got to be able to run and catch and block at a high level. The that B-back is your downhill fullback that's going to hit right away. And then cut blocks. We're going to see these Louisville defenders get cut a bunch tonight.
It is Marshall on the keep, finds a seam, finds a lane, all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. Well, that was a well-used timeout. A 33-yard run for Taquan Marshall, and Georgia Tech, which scored on its first 7 possessions last week against Bowling Green, scores on its opening drive here tonight.
Well, really, it comes from that 4th down stop out of their defense. A couple nice option plays early on, and then Taquan Marshall running it to perfection again, reading that defense. And once he gets into that open field, Clay, no one on Louisville is going to catch him.
Wesley Wells, walk-on true freshman kicker, comes on for the point after. And it's 7-0 Georgia Tech. You know, when you hear the option, you think it's that ground and pound, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This is a potent offense. And they score in the opening series again. 5 plays, 50 yards for Georgia Tech, just over 2 minutes. The Yellow Jackets trying to get their first win in the ACC here tonight. Not to a good start. Hassan Hall to return this kick again for Louisville. Gets to the 20 this time, untouched, to the 30, stumbles out to the 35-yard line. Just barely tripped up. You can stream college football all season long on ESPN+. So start your free trial tonight by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com. And you're going to need it tomorrow. The Week 6 schedule, as Dan Orlovsky would say, is sick. There's a lot of good football, and to keep track of it all, you're going to need ESPN+.
We're wearing on you. I like that. I promise you, tomorrow, once noon comes on the East Coast, ESPN Plus will be on my phone rolling.
Yeah.
Along with the television.
It's a must-have. Here go the Cards on first down. Juwan pass. Incomplete, intended for Des Fitzpatrick. Players acting like it's still live.
Rolling on the field.
It's going to be second down.
Second down.
You hear often the name Puma pass because that's what he goes by, and a lot of stories of how he got the name Puma, but I'm sticking to his mom's story. Krishina Thomas said her cousin Felicia created the name because when Juwan was younger, he was always running, climbing, jumping like a Puma, and field level, that's a big Puma.
You cannot argue, Cart, with this guy's athleticism. Right now, though, he needs to find some consistency as the quarterback of the Louisville Cardinals. It's been tough, though, I'm sure, following behind Lamar Jackson as their penalty flags down. False start.
Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's on McNeil, the right tackle.
Like you said, Clay, it's tough to follow Lamar Jackson. Listen, this guy's one of the greatest college football players ever. I mean, 1,500 and 3,500 in a year. To do it once is impressive. Doing it twice, remarkable. So there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. You mentioned the consistency. Do everything just a little bit better.
Yeah. Onto the flat for Trey Smith. He is hit, gets out of a tackle. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage. And then the ball came out. Georgia Tech says they have it. And they do. Charlie Thomas, the true freshman outside linebacker who the coaching staff speaks very highly of, recovered that football, and Georgia Tech has a short field again.
And this is something this Georgia Tech defense does well, is force turnovers, calls them, and a big reason why is they try to accelerate through the football when they get there. Try to accelerate through it, and Charlie Thomas, a young kid for them that started at safety. They've dropped him down to play a little bit more linebacker. Opportunity to get some plays, and there he is making one.
The previous play is under review.
Now this play is under review. It's called a fumble and a recovery by Georgia Tech on the field. David Curry, Henri St. Amour, who's having a very active first quarter, involved in knocking that ball loose. But you talked about the turnovers, the takeaways for Georgia Tech. That would be their 11th on the season if it stands up. It's under review. Back in a moment. The Trey Smith fumble recovered by Georgia Tech. They looked at it upstairs. It stands. Louisville has really shot themselves in the foot this year. -8 now in turnover margin.
Now you've got 2 possessions, 2 turnovers, and 2 short fields for Georgia Tech offensively.
Yeah, turnover on downs and then a fumble. Now to Quan Marshall on the pitch. Clinton Lynch. He always makes something happen every time he touches the football. That's a pickup of 11.
It's really just one of those counter options where he's going to reverse out, and there it is, a simple read. Make that defender come at you, kick it out to Clinton Lynch. It's an offense that just wears on you play by play, Clay.
Lynch reached a milestone last week. First player in Georgia Tech history with 1,000 yards career receiving and rushing. As Marshall dives ahead on the right side of the line.
It's one of those just kind of quarterback follows. Fake it to that fullback, and he becomes almost a lead blocker for you. Eye discipline has got to be paramount for this Louisville defense.
52 points have been scored off Louisville turnovers by opponents this year. Georgia Tech trying to make the Cardinals pay on this second series. Taquan Marshall cuts it up again. Finds some running room and gets to the 10-yard line. It's going to be first down and goal to go for the Yellow Jackets, as these young Cardinals defensively having a hard time against this triple option.
Really impressive by the Georgia Tech offensive line. The right side, Lee and Bryan getting great push. Gaping holes right now for Taquan Marshall, and that's why this short field is such a big deal, because they're going to get 7, 8, 9 yards a clip.
Jerry Howard, he's the B-back behind Marshall. And he will get it. And he will get to the 1-yard line. Jerry Howard. And D. Smith made the touchdown saving tackle. I would have to think that trying to stop this defense, when you see it so rarely, is like trying to chew tinfoil.
That B-back dive just happened so quick, and Jerry Howard's fantastic at those dives. Great balance near the end, almost gets it in. And I expect to see something very similar with another B-back dive here, Clay.
That's Howard again. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. It's Taquan Marshall on the keep. His second touchdown. And the turnover again comes back to haunt Louisville.
Really, that drive is all about that Georgia Tech offensive line owning the line of scrimmage. This time it's really a version of a quarterback sneak, right? Just go a little bit outside of your center behind your dominant left guard and Parker Braun. Georgia Tech right now making it look real easy, and Louisville helping their cause.
Wesley Wells now 11 for 11 on PATs this year. And a turnover so costly for the Cards. Trey Smith coughed it up. Georgia Tech makes him pay.
It's the wrong team to turn it over with the short field. Their offense just too dominant. Finishing again, big lead early for Georgia Tech.
14-0, Georgia Tech leading Louisville. We're at the midway point of the first quarter. It has been an impressive start for the Yellow Jackets. The last 3 Louisville possessions, turnover, turnover on downs, turnover. That's going back to last week, of course. Things have to change offensively. They're going to get another crack at it here, and they'll start from the 25 in this series.
And all 3 of those turnovers lead to touchdowns for their opponent, Florida State, at the end of the game last week. And now the Yellow Jackets hot with 2 right away. And this is a team that Georgia Tech, they said, listen, we truly believe we are on the verge of doing some really good stuff offensively. Could be 4-1, and we're starting to see them tonight take some control.
So here are the 2 drives for the Cardinals. You know, 2 weeks ago at Virginia, the Cards didn't score a touchdown. Only the second time in the Petrino era. And before that late collapse last week, you know, like you said, it looked like they were doing some pretty good things against the Seminoles, but we haven't seen that carry over into tonight, as Jeremy Smith gets his first touch for Louisville here tonight. 5th-year senior running back, missed most of last year with an injury, decided to transfer, never found a place to land, and ultimately came back here. He's a guy that they may decide to use a little bit more of here tonight.
And if I'm Louisville, on first down, I'm not running the ball at this Georgia Tech defense. They know how to stop the run. They see it every play. I want to see them be a little bit aggressive on first down, throwing the ball.
Second down and 8. Jeremy Smith again in the backfield behind Puma pass. Now run it with Smith, and he'll dance to the 30.
You know, gentlemen, we've talked about it, Dan, on our way over to the stadium, how young this Louisville team is collectively. The loss last week against Florida State was a tough pill to swallow. And when you're a young team, you turn around and you look at each other, who's leading? The sideline right now, it's a little lifeless, and there isn't that upperclassman that's going to grab the bull by the horns and say, let's go.
Now look at the starters by class. Yeah, they are young. Only 11 seniors on the roster, 79 freshmen and sophomores on the roster. But Bobby Petrino told us in the meeting. You know, that's no excuse. We've got to play better.
It certainly bodes well for the future, right? But they're getting tested right now. Someone for this Louisville team got to step up.
Yeah, the play clock was winding down, and Louisville decided they better call a timeout before they get penalized. A lot of communication issues for the Cardinals. Well, tomorrow on ABC, we're going to have a top 25 matchup in Blacksburg. Number 6 Notre Dame taking on the number 24 Hokies. It's going to be great in Blacksburg. 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. Irish quarterback Ian Book. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles the hostility in Blacksburg. He has been dynamic since being promoted.
It's really, Notre Dame made a decision. They were going to trade in Brandon Winbush and his kind of athleticism and running ability for the ability to throw the ball much better. And we see the numbers impacted by Ian Book. But he will. We saw that Virginia Tech defense last week. He will be tested in Lane Stadium.
What a difference last week was for Virginia Tech compared to 2 weeks ago when they lost at Old Dominion.
I expect to see a zone blitz out of Georgia Tech here. Nate Woody, who's their defensive coordinator, loves zone pressures, and Puma Pass struggles to see post snap sometimes.
Need to get 5 yards to keep the drive alive. Pass throws, caught by Fitzpatrick. I don't think he got there. Cut down about a yard short. So here's another 4th down situation for Bobby Petrino. Jalen Askew, the cornerback, made the tackle.
A little bit of a 3-man rush out of Georgia Tech, and Desmond Branch loops around, forces the short completion. This is the right decision, though, for Bobby Petrino. Punt this ball. You don't want this to snowball too much on your young football team.
Mason King comes out to punt. 3rd-year punter out of St. X High School here in Louisville. Cleanly gets it away. This is Brad Stewart calling for the fair catch at the 24-yard line. You talked about the new defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, Dano, Nate Woody. Spent the last 5 years at Appalachian State, introducing a 3-4 scheme to the Yellow Jackets. It's designed to play fast. We have seen them get to the football quickly tonight, and they've already been very disruptive.
A lot of fun to talk to him, too. You can tell. He's a defensive coordinator. There's no doubt about it. In that 3-4 scheme, they've got all kind of zone blitzes, and said they're really coming along with understanding, hey, if a guy blitzes from here, we got to get somebody on defense to replace where he just left, and they're playing great so far tonight.
We're starting field position for Georgia Tech tonight, but it doesn't seem to matter. Look at that running room for Taquan Marshall. Rips off 14 on 1st down. This is a guy who ran for 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns last year.
And I mentioned it, and this is going to be a theme all night. One guy. If you're wrong, one guy on defense, Kane Pass, kind of stretching the play out of the line of scrimmage. You make a decision. Taquan Marshall's going to go off that, resulting in some big plays right now for Georgia Tech.
73 rushing yards, couple of touchdowns. Marshall won't pitch. He'll cut it up again, and he'll get about 9 yards on that run. Kane Pass, the brother of Puma Pass, who plays free safety for the Cardinals, finally able to get him down. We talked to Taquan Marshall this week, and he said the biggest thing about last week in the win over Bowling Green is that he played clean. They did not put the football on the ground, and that had been a big problem for them coming into that game.
He was flawless with his decision making, and he said they're really starting to trust each other on offense, which is huge in this option scheme.
They put the ball on the ground 15 times this year. No fumbles so far tonight. There's another 1st down. That's a gain of 6 for Georgia Tech. And Taquan Marshall, lightning fast. The biggest thing is just ball protection in this offense, and he has done a lot better job of that the last couple of weeks.
Well, a big thing for them is, Taquan, just relax. You know how to run this offense. The fumbles were from him pressing. Relax, this offense will come to you. He's doing a fantastic job so far this evening.
Late pitch. Good decision, Searcy. A lot of room, and he gets to the 21-yard line. Quay Searcy, the speedy senior A-back, picks up 25, and it's a Georgia Tech first down.
Okay, there's a little beauty to watching this option kind of unfold. And Searcy's a guy as a A-back on the perimeter is so dynamic. Taquan Marshall putting on a clinic right now, threatening guys, making them declare, and using some of the weapons around him. It's a long drive for Georgia Tech right now.
Started at the 24. Now they're at the 21 of Louisville. Cottrell went in motion. He'll hand it to the B-back, Jordan Mason. He'll plunge ahead. Another good run on first down. The starting B-back for Georgia Tech, Kervonte Benson, out for the year with the knee. He was a 1,000-yard rusher last year, so they've had to make do. Mason and Howard have done a really good job without him.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, both of them are downhill, physical runners. They fit this offensive scheme. And really right now, the interior of the Georgia Tech offensive line is dominating at the point of attack.
Well, this stinks. We didn't expect rain. It's humid here tonight, but the forecast looked pretty good. So it's starting to rain now. That's potentially a problem for this option offense. So they pick up the first down. They get it to the 10, so it'll be first down and goal to go again here for Georgia Tech as we go under 2 minutes to go here in the quarter.
I'd argue this is going to help this option offense. You know where you're going. The defense doesn't, and you're going to handle the ball far less tragically or dangerously than a Louisville pass offense will.
Marshall, handout to the first man through, and they were ready for Jordan Mason that time. Defensive coordinator Brian Van Gorder has a lot of experience against the triple option from his time at Notre Dame. He went 4-1 against Navy, Army, and teams that ran the triple option when he was with the Irish.
And saying yesterday, he said the first time he faced it against Navy, he had no clue what was going on. First quarter hit him so fast, but their goal tonight is play simple, play fast. We cannot get cut right now, struggling on the line of scrimmage, getting cut.
Marshall, late pitch, got it to Clinton Lynch. Turn it into at the 5-yard line. Kane pass, able to bring him down. Third down, goal to go for Tech. That was an 8-yard pickup.
Yeah, Kane pass actually did a really nice job there, kind of stringing that play on horizontally, making a little bit more of a difficult pitch for Taquan Marshall. But if you're Paul Johnson right now, this is 4-down territory. You're probably going to utilize 2 dives or a quarterback in a row, thinking we're dominating right now. Let's go behind our big guard and Parker Braun.
9th play of the drive for Paul Johnson's Yellow Jackets. This is what they do. They are good at possessing the football. Touchdown. Jordan Mason. His 4th rushing touchdown of the year, and it is all Georgia Tech here in Louisville tonight. This is what Paul Johnson was talking about. You know, we are better than our record indicates.
Yeah, they truly believe they could be a 4-1 team. They're a couple plays away. We kind of felt that way too, watching them on tape. And right now, dominating this football game.
(21-0). Georgia Tech, as you might imagine, all of their offense coming on the ground. This triple option has been hard to handle for this Louisville defense.
Let's just watch the left guard, Parker Braun, fire off the ball. And you talk about creating space. I mean, he's moving his defender 2-3 yards in the end zone. He's a guy that you will, hey, why did you go to Georgia Tech? And he said, I don't want to play in a spread RPO offense. I want to hit people, the flat back right there. Georgia Tech making it look easy. And you know what, Clay? We kind of expected this out of this Louisville defense, right? So young. None of them have played against an option offense like this. Not something that's easily prepared for. Some of the Louisville defenders have never even seen or heard anything to do with the option offense.
And we talked to Brian Van Gorder. He said, you know, we've worked on the option, defending it over the winter, spent some time on it during the spring, but It is so hard to replicate in practice. We're seeing the speed of Georgia Tech's offense really wear down these Cardinals. Run out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Louisville will start the second quarter with the football when we come back, but they're down in a 3-touchdown hole. 21-0 Georgia Tech. 162 yards of total offense in the opening quarter. All of it coming on the ground. Louisville trying to avoid its first 3-game losing streak since the end of the 2016 season. They had a long way to climb to get out of the hole that they're in now, down 21-0. Look at the offense for Georgia Tech. 162 yards in the first 15 minutes. They didn't need to do anything through the air to score those points. That Juwan pass in trouble, flips it, almost had it intercepted. David Curry had great pressure. He was right up in Pass's grill, and Caleb Oliver was in the secondary and nearly picked that off.
It's one of those 3-4 zone blitzes. It's a little bit delayed. Curry does a nice job of just wrapping around that center late, unblocked because of the miscommunication. That's tough on Juwan Pass right now.
It's 46 yards of offense for Louisville. Hassan Hall will get a handful there. Third down.
I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I like the energy of defensive coordinator Nate Woody. He's classic, too. I've never talked to a defensive coordinator before a game. He's on the turf, stretching his hamstrings, going through a whole routine. I asked him, what's the key here in regards to this Louisville offense? He said he respects Juwan Pass's arm. He respects his running ability. He wanted him to make decisions, so pressure, pressure, pressure.
And Clark, it's really about him making some better calls on third down, he said. Here comes his zone blitz.
Pressure coming. Pass able to get it downfield and complete it to his best receiver, Jalen Smith. Just the second Louisville first down, but the future NFL wideout will move the chains here for the Cards.
Jalen Smith's fantastic at the top of routes. I just love Puma Pass realizing, okay, I've got a zone pressure. You can see him see it, peek to the right. I've got free access to the left and drill straight. You can see the talent there. Just can he consistently do it for a game?
He's got some great receivers. Yeah, he's just got to get it to him. And he does again to Des Fitzpatrick, the sophomore out of Michigan. Big talented receiver. I mean, you look at these guys that he's got out on the outside. 6'3", 6'4", 6'2". In the case of Devontae Pete, he is 6'6".
And those are what we just call dudes. I mean, he's got some dudes to throw the ball to. I love that first down call. Quick, easy completion. I don't have to think a lot as a quarterback. And now we're in a much better second down situation. This is where Louisville needs to live.
2nd and 3. That's a first down. Hall gets inside the 30-yard line. Some spark finally.
Well, this is what completions on first down will do to you. Georgia Tech decides to blitz off the right side of the offense. And as long as you shut down some of that stunting on the defensive line, there's some gashes in the run game.
The Cards in the Georgia Tech territory for the first time. Hall in the backfield with pass. They fake it to him. They sling it out to the 21. That's Tutu Atwell spinning out of a tackle. He is athletic. The true freshman finally corralled, though, and brought down. He's a little speedster from Miami. 5'9", 156. He showed some big play spark last week. Ended up being just a few yards, but he's electric.
He doesn't look 5'9" either, right? We saw him pregame. He looks a little bit taller, but he's a guy that when you talk to them offensively, get him the ball more.
Is a completion. The previous play is under review.
Now they're going to review that last play, and I think they're going to check on the spot. So we've got a timeout here at Cardinal Stadium in Louisville. The rain has stopped. That's good. And for Cardinal fans, Louisville has shown some life offensively. 12:14 to go here before half. 21-0 Georgia Tech. Going to take a quick break. Back in a moment. Welcome back to college football on ESPN, presented by Outback Steakhouse. We're in Louisville. alongside Dan Orlovsky on play metric. The Italian Stallion, Paul Carcaterra, down on the field. So after they looked at it, they're going to say that Tutu Atwell actually had 3 more yards. They marked him down at the 23, a difference of 3 yards to the good for Louisville. But then Brandon Adams on the next play stands out for Georgia Tech, the junior nose tackle. First tackle for loss tonight.
And get touched. They try to back block him with the center, doesn't get touched, and now you go from being in 2nd and 4 to 3rd and 11, and I promise you, here comes another zone blitz from Nate Woody. We'll see if Puma understands what's going on post-snap.
One of the keys tonight, according to Woody, was get to the quarterback. They've done a pretty good job of that, making Puma uncomfortable. As I say that, he hits the receiver in stride. It's Atwell for the touchdown. Tutu Atwell, first career touchdown grab. 29-yard strike from pass, and Louisville is on the board.
What a throw and answer by Puma pass. He gets his zone blitz, and it's kind of a 3 deep, but cloud underneath. Finds Tutu Atwell in the front pylon, perfectly placed ball.
A left footer, Blanton Creaky knocks it home. So the Cardinals, after turning it over on downs, fumbling, and punting in the first quarter, finally come alive. An 8-play drive that covers 71 yards, and Atwell with the touchdown. Paul Johnson, great runs at Georgia Southern and Navy before coming to Georgia Tech. 3-time ACC Coach of the Year. Won the Orange Bowl in 2014. 11 victories that year. But there's been some heat. Last week's win kind of cooled the temperature around Paul Johnson. He's a guy that doesn't seem to be affected by the outside noise.
Yeah, he's been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Had a ton of success.
Well, his team just gave up a touchdown pass. Jawan Puma pass to Atwell. 29-yard strike to get Louisville on the board.
And really, this is just Tutu Atwell inside the slot. Tariq Carpenter's playing over the top of him in man-to-man defense. As a quarterback, when I see man-to-man, I'm just going to find the guy that's faster than you. That's just better than you. And for Puma pass, that was Tutu Atwell. And you made it easy on him. Great throw, beautiful air over the top. Nate Woody rolling the dice, playing some man on defense. Puma finding his perfect matchup.
He's got some arm talent. You can see it. It's just finding consistency, as you touched on. 52% completion rate coming into the night. The other quarterback, Taquan Marshall for Georgia Tech. He's got a couple of touchdowns. Gets to the 30 on that first down run. 6 of the 10 seasons Paul Johnson has been at Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets have finished 1st or 2nd in the Coastal. That's another reason he's so confident. Hey, you know, look at my past. I mean, we've had some great years. Yeah, the last couple, 3 years haven't been that great, but believe me, we're going to get it done again. That's Lynch. And he'll pick his way and get the first down.
One of the reasons he's so confident, Clay, is because of this option offense, and he knows how difficult it is to defend.
See the numbers.
It's pretty
He's
good
only
right
missed
there.
the postseason 3 times in 21 years as a head coach. Like I said, twice in the last 3 years, and that's why there is some chatter surrounding Paul Johnson. And this is Jerry Howard, another first down run for the Yellow Jackets.
Clay, you mentioned the noise. Coach Johnson unfazed. He's got his PhD in the option offense. He's not changing. It's fascinating. He calls all the plays. If you look at his hands, they're empty. He calls them off instincts and feel. And he has done an amazing job in regards to finding those seams in the defense. And he's got a quarterback who can run it.
He is old school. That's on Jerry Howard. He's the fake man. Big run again for Taquan Marshall. inside the 30, steps out inside the 25 at the 23-yard line. That's a gain of 30.
Everybody on this defense for Louisville getting stressed. Taquan Marshall making the right decision again as Dorian Etheridge tried to go down the line of scrimmage and make it difficult for him, but Taquan Marshall coming off last week and into tonight, just in complete control of all the things that this option offense presents to. Very clean right now.
That's their third play tonight of 20 yards or more for Georgia Tech. And that's another misconception about this offense, that they can't create explosive plays. We've seen that to the contrary here tonight. Marshall decides to keep, maybe shouldn't have, and he is spun down by Dorian Etheridge, his second game back after missing a couple with an ankle injury. The middle linebacker makes the play for Louisville. It'll be second down and 10.
And what really helped Etheridge right there was somebody outside of him that was going to take that pitch man. And so now he can go sell out on Taquan Marshall, the quarterback.
Howard is the B-back.
Right now, Taquan Marshall at the line of scrimmage trying to get numbers in their favor. Which way do they want to run this option?
They're going to run it to the right. Marshall is chopped down at the 19. Robert Hicks making the tackle that time. So now third and fairly long for the Yellow Jackets. And Brian Van Gorder's defense really needs to stop here.
And traditionally, you'd be thinking, okay, 3rd and 7 or so, probably a passing down. Likely not for Georgia Tech. They're just going to continue to be who they are and run some form of their option.
And Georgia Tech, all they need to do is get it close to that first down marker. That's 4-down territory. They'll go for it just about every time within a yard or two. Marshall drops back and dumped at the 25. Robert Hicks again. And a little help from Amante Caban, number 53.
Play, this is just an example of doing your job. Amante Caban kind of out on the edge, triggers, reads his keys, unblocked. And that is a huge stop for really, really young and on their heels Louisville defense.
So now the walk-on true freshman kicker Wesley Wells will come on to attempt a 41-yard field goal. This will be his first career field goal attempt. Bingo. And Georgia Tech puts more points on the board. Drive stalls out, but the rookie gets him 3.
4 possessions, 4 scores. Huge for this offense. Can Louisville answer once again?
Tomorrow on ABC, we're going to have a top 25 game in Blacksburg, Virginia. Number 6 Notre Dame taking on the Hokies of Virginia Tech. 6 versus 24. 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app. Notre Dame has had huge wins over Michigan and Stanford. Those are two of the big highlights from the year, as Louisville is going to start this drive at the 25-yard line. That is the main reason that they're the number 6 team in the country. And then we talked about it before, Dano, the play of Ian Book. He has been terrific since becoming the starting quarterback. A lot of people aren't talking about the defense, though, of Notre Dame. It's a championship caliber defense, holding teams to about 19 points per game.
Yeah, the thing that stands out for Notre Dame on defense right now that's a little bit rare for them, athletically, they belong with anybody in the country. They're going to get tested, though. Can Ryan Willis, that replacement quarterback for Virginia Tech, have another great game similar to last week's?
As Puma pass, he threw a touchdown on his last series. Completes this throw out across the 40 to Tutu Atwell, who he hooked up with on that touchdown moments ago.
And good positive play for Louisville, but golly, this ball gets out in front of Tutu Atwell. It is a chunk for them offensively, and that's the thing that they're needing right now with some of these big pass plays.
Pass wants to throw again, and that one's deflected. Trey Swilling, redshirt freshman cornerback, the son of Pat Swilling, College Football Hall of Famer, 5-time Pro Bowler. Got his paws on it to deflect that Juwan pass.
You know, speaking of Puma pass, Bobby Petrino had said one of the things they're working on is his left shoulder. You know, opening up to those throws to the left. That was a perfect example of that ball to Tutu Atwell. He's just a little closed. Open it up. Allow you to get it out of your hands, out in front.
Puma gets it to Hall again. And that's going to be about a yard short of the first down. Get it out to the 50. It'll be third down and very manageable. Third down and about 1.
Love that play. I love him searching downfield for a completion, finding a dump off. And now we're in a 3rd and short.
They bring in Malik Cunningham, the backup quarterback. Redshirt freshman from Montgomery, Alabama. And he's going to run it. Cuts it up on the near side, and he gets to the sideline inside the 40-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds. A gain of 11 as Cunningham comes in for one play and moves the chains.
He's actually this team's leading rusher. And they bring Mickey Crum around from the right to the left as a lead blocker for Cunningham. Great little design on 3rd down, and now Puma's back in. New set of downs for this Louisville offense.
Yeah, Cunningham ran for 129 against Western Kentucky after Puma struggled. Then got the start against Virginia. That pass by Puma is complete at the 27 to Seth Dawkins, who did not play last week because of a hammy. That's a gain of 12, and Louisville looking sharp now.
Here's this left shoulder by Puma, opened up. That's allowing that ball to get driven to the sideline. How about the feet by Seth Dawkins?
That's 20 straight games now for Dawkins with a catch. And they are deep at that position. There's Puma pumping. Now he's going to tuck. Takes it up the middle. And he gets punished as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down. That's Jalen Johnson, the outside linebacker, a standout on special teams the last few years. Throwing his weight around. Now starting as a senior for Georgia Tech. You said, you know, this defense for the Yellow Jackets, it's on the verge.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. They're close to making so many plays, and it's really just them transitioning from this 4-3 last year to now this 3-4, and it just all moving parts have to marry together, and they're very close to tying it all to making essentially one picture.
Pass is complete. Caught at the 20. That's going to be close to a first down. It's Dawkins again. It's going to be just a little bit short. And another 3rd down coming up for Louisville.
And when you're running the 3-4 defense, usually somebody on the 2nd level is going to be your 4th rusher. But if you're going to bring that guy, more often than not, other guys on your defense have to replace. And it takes a lot of communication and reps to really master it.
Puma pass is able to escape in the backfield and work ahead to pick up the first down. He needed 1, he got 2, but there was a hit in the backfield by Serge Henderson and Charlie Thomas. They just couldn't complete the play.
And Cart, down on the sideline, had mentioned, man, this Louisville team's needing a leader right now. We're kind of watching Puma pass grow before our eyes just into that, right, Cart?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that Bobby Petrino demands a lot of pass. I mean, he's a quarterback maestro.
To the end zone, tipped, incomplete. Broken up by Brant Mitchell, the inside linebacker, getting back in coverage. It's intended for Mickey Crum, the tight end.
He's got him. Just a little bit of a double move down the seam on the linebacker, David Curry, and he's there. And you can see Mickey Crum at the end of the play. Get up. Give me a little bit more air. Just those end zone balls, Clay, when you're throwing that ball into the end zone, especially middle to the back part of it, you're really thinking face mask or higher as a quarterback.
Second and 10. Pressure on pass. Got rid of it, incomplete. Now it's 3rd down. Louisville started tonight 0 for 2 on 3rd down. They're 4 for 4 since. We'll see if they can convert here.
And Nate Woody goes a little bit off of his DNA and brings out all-out pressure. Everybody's playing man and everyone else is blitzing. Kind of surprised Puma passed there a little bit.
Nate Woody, first-year defensive coordinator. Likes his group. A lot of veterans on this defensive unit, especially up front. All seniors starting on the defensive line. Trey Smith has the first down and a few yards more. First down goal to go to the 5-yard line. Trey Smith.
I love this play call for the Louisville offense. Georgia Tech just plays everybody on defense besides the 3 defensive linemen about 9-10 yards off, almost a straight line. Louisville pops a run, and there's not enough defenders there.
Well played to drive. Smith. Touchdown, Cardinals. Now Louisville has climbed back into this football game.
Really, the drive is Puma pass, and then they finish off with Trey Smith. Beautiful cut. Charlie Thomas came upfield from the edge of the line of scrimmage. Trey Smith sees it, cuts back. And like you said, Clay, what a drive and an answer to get right back in this football game for Louisville.
Trey Smith gets the Muhammad Ali boxing gloves on the sideline. It's his first career rushing touchdown. 12-play drive engineered by Puma pass. Cardinals are back in this one after falling behind early. Well, Louisville just scored a nice touchdown. But then Linwood Foy is called for a personal foul. This is a replay. Pushing and shoving after the extra point, and it's going to cost the Cardinals 15 yards on the kickoff. It could be important because Georgia Tech has proven here tonight, Dano, that they can score quickly. They're going to get the football here with plenty of time on the clock, and they're going to get the football to start the second half. So as great as that drive was just moments ago for Louisville to make this a game again, dumb penalty by Foy really hurts some potential.
And a 5th-year senior in Linwood Foy. And your team has just gotten back into this game, and now you've selfishly hurt your team.
Wanye Thomas, the freshman on the return, gets it to the 37-yard line with 2 timeouts left. Let's go to Adnan Burke.
All right, Clay, thank you very much. Coming up on our halftime report with a nod to M&M, will the real Virginia Tech team please stand up? They'll take on Notre Dame in a huge game on ABC. Plus, we'll also take a closer look at Texas, what that defense needs to do to slow down Oklahoma, and Dan Mullen tries to end a bad stretch when it comes to the Gators against LSU. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, and me. Let's send it back to you, Clay and Dan. Now, let's see Georgia Tech pass the ball.
Yeah, they haven't done it yet. No passing yards tonight. They're 0 for 1 throwing the football. They haven't needed to. We'll see in a little bit, fellas. 2:41 before half. Here's Marshall sprinting out. Has Mason with him. Marshall will cut it up, get to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 2. So, again, Georgia Tech, a couple of timeouts at their disposal with 2.5 to play here before halftime.
Defensively, beautiful job there, just running horizontally and stringing it out and believing that somebody on your defense is coming to make that play. And now, if you're Georgia Tech, you got to be thinking about being a little bit aggressive here on 2nd down.
London Yacopo just linked to the sideline for Louisville, the backup strong safety. Marshall spins, turns it upfield, good run, first down out to midfield. And P.J. Blue finally tracked him down. They stopped the clock momentarily to move the chains.
By aggressive, I mean just letting Tyquan Marshall run the ball. I mean, he arcs 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still turns this into a 12, 13-yard run.
Marshall 2 touchdowns here in the first half. 135 rushing yards for the Georgia Tech quarterback. He'll pitch it out near side. Nathan Cottrell. Good run, and that's another first down to the 40-yard line of Louisville.
What a block on the perimeter by Qua Cercian. Beautiful cut, and then get a little physical at the end of the run. A little truck stick by Cottrell, and this Georgia Tech offense rolling once again, Clay.
Cottrell, a very powerful junior, second season in that A-back rotation.
I just love how Taquan Marshall's running the line of scrimmage right now.
The O-line playing well. Hey, here's a pass attempt perhaps. Nope. Fakes everybody out and runs ahead for a pickup of 5. Robert Hicks, another tackle. The only pass attempt for the Jackets tonight, first play of the game.
Yet still rolling. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
And now they're going to line up 3 wide. 2 to the near side. Mason is the lone setback, and they give it to Mason. And he'll plunge ahead for a few, and we get a timeout called by Georgia Tech. They have 1 left.
Georgia Tech, their second
54 seconds to go before halftime. Taquan Marshall felt really good after last week's game against Bowling Green. Scored 63 points, had a real command of the offense, and we've seen him play really well here tonight again.
He hasn't missed a beat. He hasn't missed a read. He's been perfect with his decision-making, and when you get him in the open field, you're not going to catch him. Clay, the thing that stands out, he's incredibly poised. Incredibly poised running this option. We talked about it in our open. This is not easy. A lot of these decisions happen almost simultaneously inside of 1 second.
There you see the difference between a senior and a sophomore, too. Juwan Pass at times has struggled with his poise. We've seen Marshall be very poised. The numbers bear that out.
I mean, one guy's been running an offense a long time. Taquan Marshall, 25 career touchdown rushes, which is high up on those Georgia Tech ranks. And now we're in 4-down territory for Georgia Tech offensively.
The pitch. Lynch. First down, and he gets to the 25, the 24-yard line. Clock stops. Still a timeout for Georgia Tech.
Clay, we talk about these A-backs. Watch the number 1, Qua Cersei, with the beautiful cut block out on the perimeter. These A-backs, they do more than just run or catch passes. They got to be so versatile. Qua Cersei showing off his ability to block.
Here's Marshall looking to throw. Still looking to the sideline. It's caught. Brad Stewart. And the first completion for the Yellow Jackets. That's the 9th catch for Stewart this year. Only the 9th, but that leads the team.
I'm really excited to talk about a pass right now. Stewart's one of their most trusted receivers. Really nice job of breaking off the top of his route, coming back and giving somebody for Taquan Marshall to throw the ball to.
Yeah, they don't pass often, but seem to make the most of it when they do. Plenty of time now as they're perched at the 12-yard line. The pitch. Cottrell lowers his head and bangs his way inside the 5. And Cottrell is a strong running back. First down, goal to go, Georgia Tech. And Louisville hasn't used the timeout here. 35 seconds to go. Defense looks tired.
Can't stress enough how much this offense stresses any defense, let alone a young one. They're putting on a clinic, and if you're Bobby Petrino, you might think about calling a timeout and letting them breathe and talk it over.
Cersei, Quay Cersei just sashays into the end zone. Georgia Tech with an impressive scoring drive. And under 3 minutes to get it done, and they do it. This Louisville defense has shown no ability to slow down this triple option.
I really think that Louisville should have called the timeout there just to set their defense down here. Give them a better opportunity to slow down or at least stop this incredibly poised and clinicked attack.
Also another PAT. Cersei, his first rushing touchdown of the year. And it's a 9-play, 62-yard scoring drive in 2 minutes and 17 seconds.
And you called it, Clay, and I continue to reference these A-back players for Georgia Tech that have to be so versatile. Clinton Lynch, their 1K guy. Not only can he catch and not only can he run, but he makes the block on the perimeter. And that's what springs Quay Cersei untouched into the end zone. The versatility of these A-backs, really slot receivers essentially in this Georgia Tech offense, truly remarkable, and we should appreciate everything they do to make this option offense as dominant as they are at times.
And this is a Georgia Tech team that hasn't had a lot of luck on the road in recent years. 2-13 in true road games since the start of 2015, but Paul Johnson's team has come in here ready to play.
We talked about this option offense in the open, and we mentioned and referenced how difficult it is, not only to run, but also to defend. And the Louisville defense with Brian Van Gorder as their defensive coordinator, trying some different things, just unable to do anything positive against this really almost unstoppable option offense right now.
Hassan Hall finds some real estate along the near sideline. Penalty flags down as he steps out near the 45. A true freshman. Some real quicks, but this might be coming back. 45-yard return. We'll see what the penalty's about. Wayne Haight, our lead official.
During the return, holding, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. First down.
That kind of night for the Louisville Cardinals. Don't forget tomorrow on ABC, a huge one in the Big Ten. Jim Harbaugh, number 15, Michigan, hosting Maryland at the Big House. Noon Eastern on ABC. Jim Harbaugh, his record at Michigan is good, but the greatness is what he was hired to accomplish.
There's no doubt. I mean, he was really hired to take this program to elite levels. We heard James Franklin for Penn State last week, after that loss to Ohio State, say, I got to do a better job of getting us to elite. Well, that's the same situation for Jim Harbaugh. He wasn't brought there to be good. Now everything's in front of them, but good is no longer going to be okay for that Michigan program.
See if Louisville can get something done in about a half minute. Trey Smith. He's got a touchdown here tonight, but he also has a big fumble that he lost in the first quarter that Georgia Tech turned into points.
Timeout.
And we get a timeout here called by the Cards.
Timeout of the half. 30 seconds. Timeout.
I promise you, Bobby Petrino was not happy with the official right there. He wants every bit of time on the clock.
What do you think? He lost a few seconds there?
I mean, maybe a second or two. I mean, you're still looking at the ball at your 26-yard line with one timeout left. And now he's, what we're seeing, Clay, this is a guy that is frustrated with a lot of things right now.
He's only had one losing season as a college head coach. That was in 2008 at Arkansas. Never had a losing season at Louisville. He's under contract until 2023. After the game last week, you read the papers, it's like they should run him out on a rail. He's kind of going through a similar situation as Paul Johnson.
But here's the thing, Clay. If you know you're going to call timeout, you tell the official before the play, hey, if we get a first down, I'm calling timeout right away. That's on Bobby Petrino.
.16 seconds. Pass. Fades the rush, and he's incomplete. Amazingly stayed on his feet. Andre St. Amour had him wrapped up. Bobby Petrino has had some really good years at Louisville. Of course, Lamar Jackson was his quarterback. Last couple of years, did some amazing things with him. And they are having some struggles here in the post-Lamar era.
And listen, Bobby Petrino did not forget how to coach football. I mean, this guy has a track record of being a very good football coach, incredibly potent on offense. We've mentioned how young they are. That's part of it, no doubt.
Nice catch by Devontae Pete, the 6'6" junior who is coming off an ACL injury. He's still got some speed. Got behind the secondary and made a catch down at the 37. Still time on the clock.
A beautiful throw by Puma Pass, and this is why Bobby Petrino wanted all those seconds in that timeout situation. He wants to go take a shot here, see if you can catch some points late in this half.
3 seconds. Pete, did he get out of bounds in time?
Oh my goodness.
I don't think so. Clock says zeros. I think that's going to be the last play of the first half. What do you think of that play call?
Listen, it's 4 seconds, Clay. There's no way you're going to get a pass off, a completion inbounds, and think that's going to happen in less than 4 seconds. He catches it at 2.
Are they going to give him 1 second back on the clock?
Please
They might.
1 second on the clock. 1 second.
There is 1 second left, but still, that's a dicey call.
That's good home clock operation right there, but dicey call, but it worked, right? It worked. Now you got a shot at a field goal, and again, I'll reference that point, why it was so important for him to get that timeout called.
Now, Georgia Tech was on its way to the locker room. They're called back out. 1 second put on the clock. Creaky will attempt a 46-yarder here just before the half. He is 5 for 5 on field goal attempts, as long as 43 this year.
Timeout.
And Georgia Tech's going to call their last timeout here to
30 seconds.
ice the junior kicker from Shelbyville.
Dr. Paul Johnson is not too happy.
All right, let's go back to that last play. With 4 seconds left on the clock, Puma pass goes to Devontae Pete, and he barely got out of bounds in time to get this field goal opportunity.
But Clay, make it easier on yourself. Don't run a hitch, because then your receiver has to catch the ball in standstill situation, turn and get out. Call a quick out route. He's running towards out of bounds already. Easy completion. The clock would never become an issue.
A 46-yard attempt for Creaky. He has 7 straight makes going back to last year. You bet. Comes up. Aces for Louisville. At the end of the first half, they get 3 points. 31-17 at the break. We now go to the studio where Adnan, Joey, and Jesse will look ahead to a big Week 6 on the halftime report. Finally found some life, Dano. But the offense for Georgia Tech has really been the story. They scored on all 5 of their possessions in the first half.
And it's impressive that Louisville's only down 14 because of that. They put on an option clinic, really. Taquan Marshall was fantastic. I was impressed with Puma pass, and he had a really strong second quarter. The challenge is, can Louisville do anything on defense to slow down Georgia Tech?
Yeah, what is the answer there? I mean, it has been a real challenge for a defense that is young to figure out the triple option, and more specifically, slowing down Marshall. He has been terrific at quarterback for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, Louisville's got to be willing to change some things up. You know, the scheme that you came into this game with is not working. So change some things up. Give your young defense a little bit of an opportunity to play faster.
And Georgia Tech will start with the football here in the second half. It's Wanye Thomas from the goal line. He could have called fair catch, but elects to bring it out. And probably shouldn't have, as he stopped at the 20, maybe the 21-yard line. Let's go back to the first half highlights, Dan.
And we talked about this option clinic. Taquan Marshall with the vision. Okay, there's my guy that I have to read for the pull, and then the ability to make my decision on an option or the pitch or not. And just so athletic downfield. And we're down on the goal line. Kept talking about these A-backs, their ability to do it all, the versatility, blocking on the edge. So many weapons, and when you have a guy like Taquan Marshall running the show, really unstoppable right now, Clay.
You see the drive chart. Very impressive. 276 yards of total offense. Only 12 for the Yellow Jackets coming through the air. Just 1 completion in that first half. Marshall, pitch. Clinton Lynch. And he steps out at the 30. Another good run on first down.
You know, gentlemen, I had a chance to catch up with Paul Johnson from Georgia Tech, and he's thrilled with his quarterback, Taquan Marshall. Why wouldn't you be? If you look at the senior quarterback, what he's done, over 130 yards on the ground, the 2 touchdowns. And Dan, we talk about his timing in the option. What's most impressive field level is his plant foot and how he gets the defense to bite. It is an aggressive plant foot.
Yeah, and really that plant foot is what allows him to get that pitch out in perfect placement. It's almost like a quarterback throwing a ball downfield, right, Cart?
Absolutely. This kid's electric. He's a 10.8 meter champion in high school in the 100. So he's got the speed, but he's so elusive, too.
You know, when we were talking to Paul Johnson yesterday, he said the one thing, too, and you guys alluded to it in the first half, the decision-making. Hesitation is a killer in this offense. And we have not seen Taquan Marshall hesitate at all tonight.
You can tell he's in complete control of everything they're doing.
Jerry Howard is the B-back. He will get it. And he'll bulldoze away to the 40-yard line, a gain of 6. This is the thing that's really hurting Louisville. The early downs, they're not able to stop the run at all.
And just the versatility of this offense is kind of undervalued. There's a fullback dive, but instead of just straight ahead pounding you with the offensive line, they pulled their right guard, Connor Hansen, on a trap block. And then Jerry Howard, that B-back, is able to just wrap around right behind him. Just so many options right now.
Second down and 4. This time it's Jordan Mason. He's going to be very close to a first down. Looks like he got him. Yep, they'll move the chains. The other thing that has been really good for Georgia Tech is ball control. Time of possession, that's always going to be a factor for Georgia Tech when they're playing well. And they protected the football. And up to now, you know, that has been an issue as we talked about in the first half.
Well, one of the things that's allowed them to protect that ball is Taquan Marshall's got downhill a lot of times. That's forced his hand with some decision makings. It allows him to protect it just a little bit more.
Here's Mason. Wow. To the 39-yard line. Mason had a touchdown in the first half. That's his 8th carry here tonight, and they've all been pretty good.
And it's the second time we're seeing this kind of play. It's that B-back dive, but they pull, again, the left guard Parker Braun with a quick trap. And so we're seeing all the options within this option offense for Georgia Tech, and these linemen now are switching up the things that they're doing as well.
Marshall. Give him 7.
Number 16, Marshall.
You talked about the offensive line, Dan. We have a
Officials
man
timeout.
down
Injury.
for Louisville.
Defense.
Try and see who this is.
Timeout.
Des Dumerville John, nephew of Elvis Dumerville. He is down, being attended to here with under 12 minutes to go. Third quarter. Back in a bit. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Georgia Tech leading 31-17, opening series of the second half. Louisville nose tackle Des Dumerville John able to limp to the Cardinals sideline, putting some weight on that left leg, and oh, how much weight it is. He is tipping the scales right around 400 pounds. A true freshman. Jordan Mason rips up another good run for the Yellow Jackets as we go down to Card.
Never easy following a legend, and you know the last name, Dumerville. For Des, his much smaller uncle Elvis was a first-team All-American in 2005 for Louisville. Had a season in which he had a whopping 20.5 sacks and 10 forced fumbles. Elvis went on to make 5 Pro Bowls in the NFL with the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. Young but big Des has been a force in the middle for this Louisville defense, and they'll need him.
They list him at 378, but we were talking to the coaches yesterday.
No, 450.
Yeah, no, he's well over 400. He is a huge body, as you can see. There's another 3-yard pickup. Yeah, Elvis, quite a player here, and his name is listed up on the Ring of Honor here at Cardinal Stadium. Johnny Unitas, and Dave Ragone, Otis Wilson, some of the great names here at Louisville. There's Elvis, 5-time Pro Bowl defensive end.
Incredible player. Great NFL career as well. And His nephew, Dumerville John, is going to have a really good career at Louisville as well, as long as he can keep his weight under control. He's a prototypical 3-4 on the center's head defensive tackle.
Cottrell with another strong run to set up 3rd down and short. Here's Georgia Tech in the red zone. They are 4 for 4 inside the 20 here tonight. Louisville just hasn't been able to stop this Georgia Tech offense. One series they held them to a field goal, but every time Georgia Tech has had the ball tonight, they put up points.
And this seems like a time where you might want to sell out against the run here.
Taquan Marshall dives to the 10-yard line. 1st down, goal to go, Jackets.
There's another one of those called kind of quarterback follows. Fakes the ball to the fullback, and he just uses that fullback as an extra blocker. And you've got your center and guard combo blockings. Parker Braun moves that defensive tackle off the ball. It's just easy pickings for this Georgia Tech offense.
Marshall will hand off. It's Jordan Mason, and he'll rumble and tumble inside the 5. Taquan Marshall burst on the scene last year. His first career start, he had a 5-touchdown game. 369 yards in total offense against Tennessee. He hasn't had a game like that since, but he's had a lot of really good games. So we're seeing another one here tonight as he's engineered some really good-looking drives.
I mean, he's highly decorated, Clay. I mean, he's the perfect fit to run this Paul Johnson offense, and we're getting to see it play out before our eyes. I mean, positive yards on every single play right now.
11 straight runs on this series. That's what Georgia Tech does. Toss sweep, Jordan Mason looking for the goal line. And he's stopped. And mark him down at the 1. That's Dorian Etheridge.
Early on the field as the ball carrier short, 3rd down.
Their best tackler making the stop.
Helmet off for the offense.
It's really a great play by Monty Caban, shedding a blocker. Because that was that B-back quick motion. That happened so fast on the perimeter. Just a really nice job of shedding a blocker and getting in the way of the ball carrier. Almost pops it out, and now 3rd and goal. You got to be thinking quarterback follow or a fullback dive up inside.
Howard is the B-back. They pitch it to Searcy. Searcy lunges into the end zone, and the Yellow Jackets score again. There are markers on the field. Flight came in late, I think. I think this is going to be a celebration penalty on Georgia Tech.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 1 of the offense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff. We will have a try. Touchdown.
Clay, you see this replay. Look at all the bodies up inside for Louisville, and I don't blame them. You've been hurt a little bit with these quick fullback dives, and so they invest so many of their bodies or assets in between those tackles, but that's what makes this offense so difficult. You want to invest a bunch of guys inside? We'll hit you out on the perimeter with a quick toss.
Extra point for Wells. 2nd touchdown tonight for Quay Searcy, senior from Barnesville, Georgia, capping a 13-play, 7-minute drive for the Jackets. Great football tradition here at Louisville. Lamar Jackson, of course, the Heisman Trophy a couple years ago. And it all started with Johnny U. He's got his statue here on the main concourse. His number 16 is retired here. That reminds me, got a pretty good Monday Night Football game coming up Monday night.
Guy who can throw it a little bit, right?
I'll tie this all together, I promise. Georgia Tech penalty forced on the kickoff, but Louisville still can only get to the 20 on the return. So it'll be the Saints and the Redskins on Monday night, and Drew Brees needs 201 yards to pass Peyton Manning for the most passing yards in NFL history. He could easily get that on Monday night. Drew Brees broke Johnny Unitas's record that he held for a lot of years. I think it was 52 years he held the record for most consecutive games with a touchdown pass. He did that back about 5-6 years ago.
Brees
can set another record on Monday night.
He's remarkable. I mean, the accuracy, the ball placement. He actually was my host on a recruiting visit out to Purdue coming out of high school, and I just remember he wanted to go work out, so we go to the facility, and he wants to throw. And it was like watching a guy just walk the ball out to the receivers and place it in their hands. The accuracy was absolutely remarkable. Played against them a couple times, would put on clinics passing the ball, and he's really in the conversation for one of the best, certainly most accurate quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, rumor has it he told Joe Tiller, don't offer Arlovsky after the trip. Guy's kind of weird.
They're lost.
I'm going to take that.
They're lost.
All right, let's see what Louisville can do on this offensive series. Des Fitzpatrick hauled that one in after an Averett catch. Puma pass, like you said, Dano, he's had a decent night, at least statistically. It's just they got to find some rhythm throughout the entire offense and throughout the entire team, and they got to start doing it quickly. Oh, ball comes out as I say that, and Georgia Tech has recovered. Turnover. And Charlie Thomas has his second fumble recovery of the night. The true freshman outside linebacker with another big play in this ball game for the Yellow Jackets.
And it's a true freshman taking advantage of getting some extra snaps. He's earned them, and he's proving his coach, Nate Woody and Paul Johnson, that's the right choice. Around the ball a bunch. And you kind of feel bad for Puma Pass because he's playing such a good game of football, but this is now their third turnover, and he doesn't have a hand in any of them.
Brandon Adams knocked it loose. Thomas recovers. Second turnover for Louisville here tonight. Now Jerry Howard on the run to the 22-yard line. That's the 13th turnover for Louisville on the season. They are now a -9 in turnover margin. That's the worst in the country.
Hey, Clay, this is a situation where coaches can harp on it as much as they want. Take time and practice, stress it, but there's got to be some ownership on players. I know they're young and they're trying, but that ball has got to be valued. You see the impact.
And now Taquan Marshall has to jump on a loose football. Able to recover. That's the first time Georgia Tech has put it on the turf here tonight. Doesn't cost them.
You know, sometimes turnovers happen because players just press. They press so much. They're trying to make a play. Coach, I'm trying to get us back in this game. And it actually becomes a detriment. These turnovers don't happen because lack of effort. It's just wrong place, wrong time, trying so hard, little poor ball security.
Now here's Taquan Marshall on another keeper. It's going to bring up about 3rd and 6 for Georgia Tech. One of the biggest things that Georgia Tech has cleared up when it comes to ball security was the quarterback center exchange. That was a real issue there for a few weeks.
It sounds simple and it's funny or silly that you go quarterback center exchange, that should be the easiest thing, but that's where the play starts, obviously. And sometimes with these option offenses, when you're moving laterally so quickly, that quarterback can leave early. They've done a nice job of simplifying it, refining, repping it, and now they've got control of it again.
Kenny Cooper, the junior center, preseason all-conference. He's back off injury, not healthy. Marshall, we're going to mark him down at about the half-yard line. Almost had his 3rd touchdown run of the night. It's a 17-yard pickup. Goal to go, Georgia Tech.
I mean, just the push that this Georgia Tech offensive line is getting against Louisville. There's nothing on defense that you can do as a linebacker. You're at that second level, 3 or 4 yards behind the ball, and somebody's on you right away. It's difficult right now for Louisville.
Taquan Marshall leaves the field. He might have been shaken up on that last play. So Tobias Oliver, the redshirt freshman who's played well when he's been asked to come in, will take this snap. And it will be Oliver with a thank you very much touchdown. That's his 6th rushing touchdown of the year. He has been terrific in limited playing time, and he caps the short drive off the turnover.
Yeah. Clay, you're scoring on this one. Watch 75 Parker Braun and 56 Hansen. The push. Instant. It's 3 or 4 yards of push right when the ball snapped. I mean, there's the loss of Dumerville John a little bit showing up, that big body. And Georgia Tech's dominant offensive line interior just creating gashes right now.
Extra point for Wells. 14 points off turnovers tonight for Georgia Tech. They have been putting on a clinic. The opening kickoff. 45-17. Paul Johnson's team looking good for its first ACC win of the year. Taquan Marshall has been terrific tonight at quarterback for Georgia Tech. A season high 175 yards rushing, a couple of touchdowns. He was dinged up a little bit on that last series, but he's got a smile on his face. He seems to be moving around okay on the Tech sideline. So that's good news for the Jackets, because if they're going to turn their season around, and tonight seems to be a pretty good start, he's going to be a key man.
A little banged up. He's run the ball so many times. You know, he's a quarterback, but he's got to be tough. Taking 20, 25 hits a game. Just a little bit of a wrap at the bottom of his foot there. I think he'll be okay, Clay. You certainly want him to, because this is a Georgia Tech team right now that's hot moving forward.
There's a lot of wear and tear on the body when you're the quarterback of a triple option offense. Been dinged up a couple of times this year. Tobias Oliver has come in and performed admirably. He capped the last drive with a short touchdown run. Now here's Puma pass, and the Cardinals handing out to Hassan Hall. It's a 1-yard gain.
Georgia Tech fans can exhale. Taquan Marshall went into the tent, but I'm told he will return this next drive. And I also caught up with Bobby Petrino heading onto the field in the second half. He said he wants to run the ball. The problem is, Dan, there's under 4 minutes left. They've had the ball once with a fumble. They're down 30. Probably going to have to abandon that plan.
Yeah.
And your defense has been on the field for over 9 minutes just this third quarter right now. And, you know, I said it before. I would really like to see them open it a little bit up, right? Puma Pass has really had a solid night. Let him grow a little bit in this moment.
Pass got touched. And he'll sprint out and fire it down the sideline, complete. It's caught by Jalen Smith. First down reception, a gain of 9 for Louisville. Cardinals have gone to a bowl game 8 straight years. Get the feeling that this is a year where that's certainly in risk. Next week they've got a trip to Boston College. They really have a tough schedule in the second half. This is a game I'm sure they were looking at, thinking, yeah, that's one we can be competitive in. It hasn't been the case here tonight. So Hassan Hall makes the catch. Second down and 2.
And really the story, you're just beating yourself a bunch, right? There hasn't been a ton of plays where you go, man, we're just getting outmanned or dominated, certainly on the offensive line side. And I'll go, Puma Pass has been impressive tonight with his decision-making, his ability to throw the ball. This is a really big 17 minutes for him to continue his growth process and rebuild that confidence.
Now Jalen Smith looking good, coming off his 6th career 100-yard receiving game. And that's another 15-yard gain for Smith.
Confident throw, too. Some eyes by Puma, delivering it. I love what I've seen from him.
Pass in trouble, under pressure, and he'll get rid of it. Trey Swilling, Charlie Thomas were in hot pursuit.
I don't know if that ball got past or to the line of scrimmage.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. No. The ball would have crossed the line of scrimmage extended. Second down.
You heard that official say to cross the line of scrimmage extended, meaning that line of scrimmage doesn't stop when it connects to the sidelines. It goes all the way through, basically to people in the stands. So really good job decision-making wise by Puma right there, and making sure that ball got to the line of scrimmage.
pass. And Mickey Crum is able to haul it in after it bounced out of his hands momentarily. He gets it inside the 35 to the 34. Brant Mitchell, senior co-captain. Heart and soul members of that Georgia Tech defense, which has played so well tonight. He makes the tackle. So now 3rd and 4 here for Louisville. Pass, looking to his right, and he's hit from behind. Able to hold on to the football as he's crunched by Henri St. Amour and Brandon Adams. First sack tonight for the Georgia Tech D. It's 4th down.
St. Amour is a little bit of just an undersized edge rusher, but flat out speed on the edge and Puma pass. Again, nothing he can do there as a quarterback to get out of that situation.
Nate Woody, the defensive coordinator, said 94 has to have a big game for us to have total success here tonight. And he has.
No doubt. And they've done a great job in the run game. I mean, they haven't been on the field a ton, but when they've been on the field, they've played solid football.
Flag. False start, Louisville.
False start. Offense. Number 15. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
4th penalty against the Cardinals here. Comes with under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. All of the points tonight for the Cards came in that 2nd quarter. This is starting out here in the 3rd, much like it looked in the 1st for Louisville. Not much going right.
This is going to be a really, really important 4th quarter for Louisville, for Coach Petrino, for his very young football team to use it as an opportunity to be challenged and grow.
And another flag. Stewart made the fair catch.
Illegal formation. Offense. Not enough players lined up on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. 1st down.
They just keep stepping on nails.
We will replay 4th down.
We're going to have to punt again. Replay the down.
Listen, I know you're at home watching this. This is a little bit, how can you do this 2 plays in a row? We do have to bring it back to the fact that this is such a young football team. 79 kids on the roster, sophomores or younger. So this is an incredible challenge for the whole coaching staff. And you see Bobby Petrino, he's not laying up. He's coaching his tail off. You got to take these moments and use them as opportunities to teach your kids how to handle adversity.
There'll be a lot of teaching moments in the film room this week, Dano. Fair catch at the 13. About a half minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's all Georgia Tech in Louisville. Don't forget, tomorrow on ABC, it's a big one in the Big Ten. Michigan, number 15 in the land, hosting Maryland. Then at 8, number 6 Notre Dame will be in Blacksburg to take on number 24 Virginia Tech. A couple of really big games on ABC and live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere.
Maryland-Michigan game could be interesting. Maryland's already knocked off Texas.
Bias Oliver, quarterback for Georgia Tech.
A little switch up to Quan Marshall. A little break. But going back to that Maryland-Michigan game, Clay, I mentioned Maryland already knocked off Texas early on. They can run the football. Rashawn Gary, is he going to play for Michigan? Michigan squeaked out a win last week. Huge comeback versus Northwestern, down 17. Won a game they shouldn't have. But Maryland's going to test Michigan in the Big House. I do. They are going to test them because they can run the football.
Well, Georgia Tech can really run the football. We have seen that here tonight. Nearly 400 yards of rushing. And through 3 quarters, Louisville has yet to stop a Yellow Jackets drive. It's 45-17, headed to the 4th here in Louisville, Kentucky. Clay Matvick, Dan Orlovsky, Paul Carcaterra back here in Louisville as Georgia Tech starts the 4th quarter just like they have started every other quarter. Tobias Oliver with a big play. Boy, this rushing offense for Georgia Tech has not been slowed up one bit by the Cardinals. Sturgill finally made the tackle, but it's a huge run of 65 yards.
I got to imagine every coach in the ACC is like, Wait, they got another one in the pipeline. Oliver came in last week in their game, scored a quick touchdown, almost did another one.
He has scored a touchdown on 7 of the 13 drives he's been the quarterback. So he comes in. Taquan Marshall nicked up a little bit earlier tonight. Jordan Mason on this run inside the 10.
Just let it go.
So first down goal to go for Georgia Tech. Tobias Oliver, redshirt freshman, running this offense now, which has not been stopped once.
That's remarkable. That's hard to do, Clay. I don't care who you're playing, what level you're at. It shows you how incredible they are. This is why Paul Johnson's so confident. He knows what it's capable of. I mean, 454 yards rushing is incredible in 3 quarters of football.
Oliver keeps it on this one. Down to the 5. Oliver became the backup when sophomore Lucas Johnson had leg surgery. Like I said, he's done a good job. 3rd leading rusher coming into the night after that big run. We'll have to see where he sits. But it's an impressive showing here tonight for Georgia Tech. Paul Johnson's team trying to get an ACC win, and it's never easy to get a win on the road.
That's really something Georgia Tech struggled in. This is going to be, they lost about 7 games in a row on the road.
Oliver caps another scoring drive.
Not tonight.
Not going to happen tonight.
That streak's going to end tonight. Untouched, Clay. And just, I know we've hit on the quarterbacks a bunch tonight, Taquan Marshall and Tobias Oliver, but how about the offensive line for Georgia Tech? And everybody playing their part, the A-backs, the B-backs, the offensive lines, anybody on the perimeter, the quarterback's making the right decision. They've just clicked on all cylinders tonight. You do it in this option offense, you're going to be unstoppable.
Another lightning fast scoring drive. 2 minutes, 22 seconds. This time it's Tobias Oliver, the backup, taking Georgia Tech down to score in 5 plays. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State makes a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. We say thank you to All-State. And tonight, 6 PATs and 1 field goal for Georgia Tech, because they have been on fire tonight. Louisville has yet to stop Georgia Tech from scoring on 7 possessions. Hassan Hall. Return out to the 27-yard line. A flag comes in. We'll check on it after this check-in with Adnan.
All right, thanks so much, Clay. I just want to let you know what's happening over on ESPN2. Utah State and BYU. Tanner Mangum gets intercepted by Tipa Galeai. 3rd straight game of a defensive touchdown for them. Only other team to do that this year is Alabama. Defense leads the offense 7-0 right now over on ESPN2. Clay, back to you and Dan.
All right, Adnan, thank you very much.
How do you think Alabama would handle this Georgia Tech offense? Yeah.
Better than this. Yeah, we talked to Brian Van Gorder about defending the triple option, and he said that they did their due diligence. It's just you can't replicate the speed. And Georgia Tech has it down so well as Puma pass throws incomplete under pressure.
You know, Clay, you mentioned you can't replicate the speed. I spoke to Brian Van Gorder before the game on the field, and he felt comfortable in regards to how they repped it out. They repped it out all winter. They had sets every single week during preseason camp. They rep it out during the season. But unless you go against this offense and the DNA of every single player on the Georgia Tech offense, it's in them in terms of the way they block with the chop blocks, and it's second nature. It's their 6th sense. So when you ask a scout team to do it, it's not their DNA, Dan.
And you, like you said, Kark, you can't replicate
Unsportsmanlike conduct, sideline interference on Georgia Tech sideline. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
And you just can't replicate that stuff. And so when you're taking a group of young defenders and they've got to play against something that they've never seen before. No one really runs this in high school football for a lot of parts of the country. They've never even heard them talk about it. You can do as much as you want as a coaching staff, and that's the point. This is not on the Louisville coaching staff or the players. This is more just a credit and an appreciation for how well Georgia Tech has gone about running their offense in their business.
Trey Smith catch there out in the flat. You saw the rushing statistics here tonight. Obviously, Georgia Tech has piled up a boatload of rushing yards. Louisville, when they've had the football, they've been able to get nothing going on the ground. That's been a big problem all year. Came into the game 120 rushing yards on average per game, near the bottom of the FBS, as that pass is incomplete. And it all starts with the run game.
It certainly helps a lot of things on a quarterback. The defenses have to become a little bit simplified. They've got to be willing to throw some more bodies in the box to stop the run game. It opens up more of your offense for a play-action aspect. I do like some of the things that Louisville did early on offensively. They came out, you know, take away those first 2 series and turnovers. They had a really strong second half. It was some short passing games, hitting some plays. And then they just fell behind, and you have to get out of the run game when you fall behind 2-3 scores.
Shot Hall, that'll be a first down. Yeah, Georgia Tech has more points here in the second half than Louisville has in the game. Georgia Tech with 21 points since halftime. Louisville had that nice second quarter, as you alluded to. But aside from that, this Georgia Tech defense has done a really nice job. 12 minutes to play. Puma pass, again out into the flat. Just hasn't been much downfield, and when there have been receivers open, pass hasn't been able to hit him. Victor Alexander making the tackle. It's a 4-yard gain, second down and 6.
If you think about it, Georgia Tech as a program, as a team, is very difficult to prepare for. Not only we talked about preparing for the option offense, but then the 3-4 defense. You know, there's so many different rules that go into a 3-4 defense and how you handle it offensively, what your protection plans are, who do you go to in your run game. There's different bodies when you're looking for passing lanes. So Georgia Tech presents a lot of really challenges when it comes to preparing in your scout team. Scout teams are, you know, you try to get them to do the best they can, but it's always beneath what you want every single week.
Yeah.
And to do it with a lot of different variables like Georgia Tech, it's hard.
Third down and 6. The 37-yard line. That misfires. Intended for Des Fitzpatrick. Fourth down. So the most rushing yards in major college football since 2008. Georgia Tech right around 300 yards on average over the last decade. Only Navy's better. There's Army right behind. Of course, what do they have in common?
Yeah, they're all kind of Paul Johnson arms, right? They're all tied to this incredible offense.
Going forward here on fourth down, and they should. And then spinning out of a tackle, that's Fitzpatrick. And he'll waltz into the end zone for a touchdown. Des Fitzpatrick spun right out of the arms of the defender and goes 43 yards for the touchdown.
You know what? Good for Puma pass. He's kept fighting and throwing the ball. It's just a stop route by Des Fitzpatrick. Good timing. Ball thrown on that outside hip, and then he'd make something happen after that catch. And it's just a small example of this Louisville offense does have some weapons. It does have some playmakers on the outside, and Puma's done a better job of getting them the ball tonight. It's just not enough, as we've seen against Georgia Tech in their offense.
First-year starter at corner, Johnny Kerr, couldn't make the tackle. And it's a touchdown for the Cardinals. 74-yard touchdown drive. Fitzpatrick, his second receiving touchdown of the year.
ESPN College Football is presented by Outback Steakhouse, where you can go big and go home with delivery and takeout. And in part by Zeckelman Industries, a leader in steel product manufacturing. Learn more at Zeckelman.com.
beautiful Louisville, Kentucky. That's where we are tonight. Hey, 15 schools all on one network. How about it? New place to call home for the ACC. The ACC network coming August 2019, just 10 months away from the launch. But the great leagues in college sports is going to have a home to themselves. Georgia Tech, been in the ACC since 1979. Louisville joined in 2014. This is the first meeting all time in football, and I think the Cardinals are wishing that it hadn't happened. The way this one has gone. That's muffed by Cottrell, and he's going to have to take a knee in the end zone. Here's a look at our college football look ahead, brought to us by Sling TV. Some great games tomorrow. We talked about Maryland, Michigan. Bama, 35-point favorites against Arkansas. Florida State, Miami in the ACC. That's going to be good. You know, the one that I'm really interested in is Kentucky and Texas A&M. A&M has a really good run defense, but Kentucky has a special back.
I'm telling you, cut on that Kentucky-Mississippi State film, and Benny Snell is easily going to be at least worthy of the Heisman Trophy conversation. You know what?
You bet.
They got a pretty big-time defense as well. Josh Allen, I believe, leads the country in sacks right now. I think he's at like 10.5 sacks, so that's going to be a fun one. I expect Kentucky to go handle that environment.
Georgia Tech going back to work on offense. 52-24 with about 11 minutes to go. We're going to step aside again and check in with Adnan.
All right, thanks, Clay. Just want to remind you again what's happening over on ESPN2. Utah State and BYU. Jordan Love to Gerald right here. Wide open, as a matter of fact. Nice play call. 14-0. Love 6 of 8 to the tune of 70 yards. And that score. Early second, E2. Clay.
All right, Adnan. That's a good rivalry.
I don't know much about
rivalry.
it. I don't know much about it.
Logan, Utah is a beautiful place. Out to the 41, that's Tobias Oliver. Still taking the snaps at quarterback. You know, another game to keep an eye on tomorrow. Clemson at Wake Forest. Now, you know, Trevor Lawrence will be back at quarterback according to everything we're hearing. You know, after taking that shot last week. Scary situation last week for him and for that program.
It was one of those shots where you didn't know, was it a head injury? Was it something on his collarbone? Was it a neck? One of those brutal hits. Thank God he's okay. Special player. We got to watch him on tape against Georgia Tech. He made some throws, Clay, that were special throws.
It's Tobias Oliver spinning to the 49. Dano's national storylines. Texas, Oklahoma. Must win for both teams, question mark. So what are you saying? If Oklahoma loses, they're done for the college football playoff?
Certainly long-term ramifications for whoever loses. Okay. You know, Texas can't. They've already lost week 1 against Maryland, but they've gotten hot. And Oklahoma, you know, I know they're going to score 40 or something like that, but will their defense make any plays? And, you know, Texas has got some receivers, Humphrey and Johnson, that are legit, so that's going to be a challenge. What's the Clemson quarterback look like? What's the Clemson quarterback situation look like? We talked about Trevor Lawrence and his injury, Chase Bryce coming in, the huge 4th and 6 conversion last week. You know, Notre Dame, we've talked about Notre Dame's going to have a 3rd big test in a row, going to Lane Stadium, a hot, kind of rejuvenated Virginia Tech team. Ryan Willis is their backup quarterback playing. Some big receivers. And you know, feels like one of those situations where Notre Dame going to have to come in and play well, Clay.
That's Jerry Howard on that carry. Tech over 500 yards of offense. Now, you were talking about the Notre Dame quarterback situation and how they have caught fire with Ian Book at the controls.
You know, I've actually done a ton of film study on Ian Book recently, and this is the thing that stands out when you watch him. Really good understanding of what coverage he's getting, and then throwing the appropriate ball. You know, sometimes it's a back shoulder, sometimes it's a fireball, sometimes it's just a little bit trajectory off it, a little tempo off it, and like I said earlier, he's taken the reins of an offense that said, we want to be able to throw it a little bit better and utilize our weapons around us. Huge test Saturday night.
Georgia Tech has a lot of weapons. This is Amari Jarrett getting his first touch of the night. And on the pitch, takes it 29 yards to the 10-yard line. Here's another first down and goal to go situation for Georgia Tech. And that man, Brian Van Gorder, just can't find the answers against this triple option. 529 rushing yards allowed here tonight, most in Louisville football history.
It's tough. You can hear it in their voice yesterday, almost like how young they were, how concerned they were with having to defend this option offense. Were they prepared for it? Did they have the horses to defend it? And really in a short week, I know they did some prep in the winter and the spring and then camp. But when you get a short window of 4 or 5 days to truly prep with some pads on, this is a different animal.
You know, I think they could have been prepping since the 4th of July. And I don't know that it would have mattered much here tonight. The way... nothing against them.
Yeah.
Because they are young, as you've talked about. I think it's just more the execution of Georgia Tech here tonight. They are razor sharp.
The thing was, if Georgia Tech didn't turn the football over, they executed at such a high level, this was going to be at least close to the storyline of the game.
Jerry Howard with his second rushing touchdown of the year.
We got to give credit to Georgia Tech.
Yep.
You know, I know Louisville hasn't been great on defense tonight, but it's Georgia Tech and it's their offensive linemen with those flat backs, firing off the ball, creating a new line of scrimmage, changing that line of scrimmage, and then the quarterbacks, whether it's been Taquan Marshall or Tobias Oliver, making the right choices and then utilizing all the weapons around them.
Another extra point for Wesley Wells. Absolutely outstanding effort here tonight by this triple option offense. Look at Taquan Marshall's reaction on the sideline as the backups get in on the act. Sports Center tonight after Kings Warriors with Linda and Stan in LA. They're going to show you how Kevin Durant, Brianna Stewart, and Marty Smith spent the day in Seattle, plus the standout moments from all 4 playoff games in baseball. And the deciding factors for Habib and McGregor on Saturday night. Sports Center after Sacramento Golden State here on ESPN. Braves Dodgers, they're underway. Game 2 of the playoff series out in LA. Braves down a game in that one. 6.5 to go. All Georgia Tech. And we get some pushing and shoving. Back in a moment. Georgia Tech put up 63 points against Bowling Green last week. They have put up 59 here tonight. Louisville, they're going to bring in their 3rd-string quarterback, true freshman Jordan Travis.
I don't love
this. Not happy with this?
Well, here's my thing. Puma pass, 1, had a good night. 2, you're trying to get him some confidence, right? So let him finish this game.
Well, Jordan Travis, looking like Lamar Jackson, getting out to the 41-yard line on that run.
But let Puma pass finish the game and get some of that confidence back. I mean, incredible play by Jordan Travis, and they're high on him, Clay. They really like everything about his game. But in a way, when you make this choice, you're sending a message to Puma Pass, you were the problem. He wasn't the problem tonight. So I'd love to see him have the opportunity to finish this game, put a good drive or 2 together, and continue to build that confidence.
Travis has time now flushed out. He'll improvise again, and he'll get to the 43-yard line. Jordan Travis, 6'3", 195-pound true freshman out of West Palm. Like you said, they are high on him, and Bobby Petrino told you and I yesterday that he can really zing it. He's just not ready. Before tonight, 1 career pass attempt. He's getting his feet wet here in this ball game.
Officials timeout, injury on the defense.
An injured player for Georgia Tech. Not sure who it is. There's nobody down on the field. So we have a timeout. 5:20 to go. Second down and 7. Travis and the Louisville offense. There's a pass attempt that lands incomplete.
Guys, this is why I like the new redshirt rule. You got a kid like Jordan Travis. Let him get into a game. He can play up to 4 games now with the new redshirt rule. He's seen the live bullets. He knows what it takes now to get under center in the stadium. And they love this guy. When we spoke to Bobby Petrino yesterday, as you mentioned, Clay, his eyes lit up. He was trained in high school at the Benjamin School, the quarterback position the way that it should be. Now he's getting some experience. So this redshirt rule is meant for moments like this.
There's a pass attempt deep downfield. That's going to be pass interference.
Really,
a lot of contact down there, and that's going to go against Georgia Tech. Tyler Harrell, the intended receiver.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 3. 15-yard penalty. First down.
All right, so Kark is talking about the redshirt rule. It's new this year. You know, a player can participate in up to 4 games without using a season of eligibility. Well, Marcus Riley, number 14, there he is. A really good true freshman out of Tallahassee. Just burned up his red shirt. This is game number 5 for him. And you wonder what's the purpose of that? You know, maybe he should have been saved now, considering this season now looks to be a real uphill climb, and maybe you could have considered keeping him on the sideline.
I absolutely would have. Absolutely would have. You've got to be somewhat realistic about your team. This is not going to be a Louisville team that we know notoriously is one of the top 15, 20 programs in America. And so you've got all this young talent. There's no reason to burn a kid. I know he's super talented, and I know they think we've got to play him more, but you're going to want that year on the back end. And so I love the rule. I do. We've seen some guys take advantage of it, but now we've got Jordan Travis in the game, and this is the 3rd quarterback used, and now we've used up Marcus Riley's redshirt situation, and now as the schedule looks ahead, Clay, do you see a bunch of wins for a very young
real hard. Yep.
right now not playing good football team? I just would have loved to seen him save some of the redshirt years for these young, talented future players.
Travis is complete to Amani Spence. That's his first catch of the year. So some of these guys getting work. But 5th year in the ACC for Bobby Petrino, the Louisville Cardinals. Last year went 4-4, their worst record since joining the league. And to your point, I don't see them doing better than that this year. They're going to be 0-3 after tonight in the league. And next week they're at Boston College. That's going to be a tough place to go get a win.
Boston College is a team that very talented, has had some good moments and some down moments this year.
Travis nearly picked off at the goal line. Should have been. As Wanye Thomas, true freshman for Georgia Tech, had it in his hands.
I really look at the redshirt rule as a version of free agency in a way for college football, and I can appreciate players taking ownership for their futures. But it affects the quarterbacks a bunch, right? Because now a quarterback, if I don't play, I'm gone.
Kelly Bryant.
If you're a young guy, or Kelly Bryant's case, a little bit more of an established guy, but as a quarterback, there's something to be said for being a redshirt, sitting for the year, learning everything about college life, college football, living away from home, everything like that, and not having the burden of playing football and trying to win games.
Travis out at the 11. 3 minutes to go. He is athletic, no doubt about it.
He does have some shades of Lamar Jackson, a Louisville legend. You can see the ability to run with the football, tuck it. Got away with a pass the play before that probably could get picked. There's reason to be high on this kid. I just would have loved to seen him sit and have the opportunity to grow.
That's intercepted, and this will go back to the house. Wanye Thomas Dropped an interception moments ago. This one he will catch and bring back 81 yards. Third turnover tonight for the Cardinals.
And the young, true freshman just doesn't see him. Wanye Thomas inside the box, and then you see him staring. Jordan Travis stares right where he wants to go with the football. Wanye Thomas is going to listen. You're going to tell me where you're throwing the ball. I'll listen. Steps right in front. And now you've got this young, true freshman that, yeah, I want to get him reps. Was doing some nice things. And has just a unfortunate kind of sour taste in your mouth to end that drive. But that drive should have been Puma Pass's drive.
Third turnover tonight for the Cardinals. And Georgia Tech has turned those turnovers into 21 points. Big blowout here tonight. We said that Georgia Tech took out some frustration last week on Bowling Green. They have done that again here tonight against Louisville. Second straight week they have scored 60 points. It's 66-24, still 2:18 on the clock. Their first defensive touchdown of the night. Interception return by Wanye Thomas. Officially has to be a 95-yard touchdown return. Paul Johnson, he's kind of stoic on the sideline. He doesn't show there is a smile.
Hey. Yeah. I ran for 7,000 yards in a game. I'd smile too.
Not quite that many. Feels like it. And we got a couple minutes to go here in this blowout win for Georgia Tech. ACC storylines. All right, can NC State prove that they're a contender? They've got a good one this week against Boston College and Raleigh. NC State, they're going to feel like they're a candidate in the Atlantic. Now, of course, Clemson's the big favorite, but, you know, if they win that one, why not NC State?
Boston College, said like a real New Englander. I like that. You know, NC State quietly playing really good football. Ryan Finley, their quarterback, having a really solid year. Miami's defense, Clay. Miami's defense is good enough to get that team to Charlotte. Everyone wrote them off week 1, lost to Louisville. That defense is legit. For me, the real thing that I want to watch, when is Clemson going to start to look legit? Look like they are one of the 4 best teams in college football. A lot of hype, but when do they start to dominate games?
I think once Trevor Lawrence is able to start and finish a complete game and really get his feet under him. Yep. I mean, he's been relieving Bryant or he's been knocked out of games. You know, let's see him get some consistent playing time, and then I think that'll answer your question. Pass is complete out to the 40. Third down coming up here for Louisville in the final minute and a half.
You're
Here's your
right.
top 6. All right, so you got Clemson there, just outside of the college football playoff if it were to start tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I love Clemson, I do, but they haven't looked like one of the 4 best teams. And Alabama's so great, and we kind of watch all the other teams and go, oh, they're not Alabama, so they're not good. But Georgia, very good. Ohio State, huge win last week we've touched on. Notre Dame mentioned their test at Lane Stadium against Bud Foster and Virginia Tech and their defense and Justin Fuente. Oklahoma's got Texas. I mean, that top 6 could be shook up a lot come Sunday morning.
Minute to go. Travis still in there at quarterback. And I saw Cunningham, I believe, for 1 play here tonight.
Yeah, third down where they kind of ran a little option for him. He got around the edge. Nice play.
All 3 quarterbacks have played then for the Cardinals. There's a reception by Harrell. That gets him inside the 30 to the 29. The Georgia Tech schedule, they've got a tough one next week in Atlanta against Duke. You and I saw Coach Cutcliffe's team last week. They didn't play well against Virginia Tech, but that's a tough team to beat. And then, of course, on the road to Blacksburg. But now Georgia Tech, having gotten right here the last couple of weeks, who knows? You know, with a win under their belt now in the ACC, maybe they could make a challenge. It's incomplete inside the 5 as Atwell can't haul it in.
If you're Miami or Virginia Tech or Georgia at the end of the year, are you watching this game and going, oh man, I really want to play Georgia Tech? You're as a staff, especially defensively, going, man, I've got to play against this offense that's finally starting to click and play well. That is going to be a headache of a week prep-wise.
Travis to the end zone, caught by Atwell in double coverage. Nice catch by the freshman. Give the fans who are still here reason to cheer. 2-2 Atwell. He got roughed up on that end, but Travis just threw his first career touchdown pass.
Took a shot on it too, Clay. That's a really good throw. I mean, that is a seam ball placed in a very small box. Beautiful trajectory on the ball to 2-2 Atwell, and you start to see, I mean, there's some young talent on this Louisville team. Just have to hang in there and get through some of these adverse times.
Atwell, Miami-Dade Player of the Year last year. Louisville has recruited Florida well over the years. Atwell, an up-and-comer, and he's got the boxing gloves around the neck. They don't worry about the turnover stuff. They do it after touchdowns. They have the Muhammad Ali boxing gloves.
You know, we talk about the red shirt rule. One guy, no question, you don't redshirt is 2-2 Atwell. Clay, you mentioned his success in the Miami area in high school. He's the Player of the Year. He's a quarterback in high school. They list him at 5'9". There's no way he's 5'9". He's about 5'7", 5'8" max, but he has been lightning quick all evening long. And I'll tell you one other thing. When we were talking about that Georgia Tech schedule, watch out for Duke. Duke beat Georgia Tech last year. They play them every single year. They're a seasoned defense, and Duke happens to have a bye week this week to prepare for the option. An extra week.
No
Who
doubt.
doesn't want that?
Yeah, and Coach Cutt is a very good preparer. I mean, that will be a tough win for Georgia Tech. And you look at the schedule, I mean, it's brutal in the second half for Paul Johnson's team. They have 3 opponents that are currently ranked remaining on their schedule.
I know that. I'm telling you, no defensive coordinator is watching this game going, man, I feel good about that right now. This team is hot right now.
The receiver gave a fair catch signal inside the 25-yard line. The ball will be placed at the 25.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to face it.
When it's clicking and they got guys, good luck.
Well, the punter for Georgia Tech is absolutely fantastic. His name is Presley Harvin. We did not see him once tonight. Freshman All-American last year. Didn't have to punt once tonight.
Still on
Didn't even have to make the trip.
Still on scholarship.
Look at those numbers. 539 yards rushing. 8 touchdowns. Yards second most in school history. Record-setting night in a lot of ways for this offense, and then a tough one for the Louisville defense. As Georgia Tech's going to get its first ACC win. They're 1-2 in the league. They're 3-3 overall. Louisville falls to 2-4, 0-3 in the ACC. Their first 3-game losing streak since the end of 2016.
Georgia Tech came in with the mission to physically dominate Louisville, and we saw that from start to finish.
For Dan and Paul, I'm Clay. Next on ESPN, we send you to LA for NBA Countdown. Michelle, Chauncey, and Paul. See ya.